Nobody really prepares you for this part. We grow up hearing that success is supposed to feel amazing, that once we finally make it, life will be this non-stop celebration. Laughter, high fives, cheers from everyone who said they loved us. But here's the truth no one talks about. Success comes with a price tag that isn't just paid in late nights, hard work, and discipline. It's paid in relationships. And when you finally start to win, really win, that price can feel heavier than you ever imagined. You expect strangers to doubt you, but it cuts deep when it's the people you trusted the most who start to act different. You'll notice it first in small ways. The group chat gets quieter. Your jokes don't land the same way. Your good news gets brushed off or ignored. Suddenly, you're not sure if you should share your excitement because you can feel the energy shift in the room when you do. And if you're like most people, you start to wonder if you're doing something wrong. You think, maybe I am changing too much. Maybe I am leaving people behind. And that guilt, that's the hardest part, because it tempts you to play small just to keep people comfortable. But here's the thing. Growth is supposed to change you. It's supposed to pull you forward, to stretch you past what's familiar. And sometimes, that means you will outgrow certain circles, certain habits, certain relationships. Not because you stopped loving them, but because you stopped being the same version of you that fit into that old world. If you are in that place right now, if you're feeling that quiet tension between who you were and who you're becoming, I want you to know you're not alone. This is the silent price of leveling up. This is the hidden part of success that nobody posts about on Instagram. But it's also the part that proves you are on the right track. Because if everyone stayed comfortable, if nobody reacted differently, that would mean you're not really changing. So in this video, we're going to talk about what actually happens when you grow. Why friends sometimes turn cold. Why it feels so lonely at first. And why, even though it hurts, this part of the journey is necessary and even beautiful, if you can learn to see it differently. The first thing that happens when you start to grow is almost invisible. It's not dramatic. It's not loud. It's subtle, but it's powerful. One day you just wake up and something feels different. The things you used to tolerate start to bother you. The conversations you used to enjoy feel draining. The places you used to go don't feel as exciting anymore. It's like your soul quietly upgrades before your life catches up. You start craving peace more than chaos. You start caring more about where your time goes, what you feed your mind with, and who you spend your energy on. At first, it feels good, refreshing even. But then you notice something strange. The people who used to feel like home now feel distant. This is where the first painful shift happens, because growth doesn't just add new things to your life, it subtracts too. It changes the math. Your priorities shift, your energy shifts, and the equation that used to balance between you and your friends no longer adds up. You might start saying no to plans that don't align with where you're going. You might stop laughing at the jokes you used to find funny. You might stop engaging in the drama that once kept you entertained. And the moment you do, the dynamic starts to change. For some of your friends, this is confusing. For others, it's threatening. Because when you start to break out of an old pattern, you accidentally hold up a mirror to everyone still living in it. And not everyone is ready to see that reflection. That's why you might hear, "You're acting different," or "You've changed." And the truth is, they're right. You have changed. But changing isn't a bad thing. It means you're growing. It means you're refusing to stay in the same cycle just because it's comfortable. This part of the journey feels scary because it forces you to make a choice. Do you slow down your growth to keep things the way they used to be? Or do you keep moving forward, even if it means leaving behind some people you love? And that choice is heavy. It hurts because you want everyone to come with you. You want the same friends, the same memories, the same circle, just happier and healthier. But life doesn't work that way. Growth creates distance. Not because you're better than them, but because you're becoming different from them. And that's the first painful truth about winning. You can't keep every part of your old life and step into your new one at the same time. Something has to give. Here's one of the most painful parts of growing. When you finally start to win, not everyone around you will clap. And it hurts. It hurts in a way that's hard to explain because these aren't strangers. These are the people who were supposed to know your heart, the ones who saw you when you were struggling, the ones you thought would be first in line to celebrate your breakthrough. But then it happens. You share good news. The job you worked so hard for, the business you finally launched, the personal goal you crushed, and instead of the excitement you were hoping for, you get silence, or a forced smile, or a quick, "That's cool," before they change the subject. And in that moment, you feel it. The room gets quiet. The energy shifts. The joy you felt a second ago suddenly feels like something you have to defend. At first, you might brush it off. Maybe they're busy. Maybe they're distracted. Maybe you're overthinking it. But then it happens again and again. And slowly, you start to notice a pattern. Your wins are met with lukewarm responses, or worse, with little jokes that disguise their discomfort. "Must be nice," they say. Or, "Okay, boss," in a way that sounds like a compliment, but feels like a dig. And if you're like most people, you start to wonder if you should just keep your good news to yourself. You start shrinking your wins so you don't make anyone else feel small. You play down your excitement so you don't rock the boat. But here's the truth. You should never have to make yourself smaller just to stay loved. Real friends celebrate you even when they're not in the mood, even when they're not winning themselves, even when your success reminds them of the things they still need to work on. Because the right friends know your win isn't taking anything away from them. Your win is proof that winning is possible. Your win should give them hope, not hurt their ego. But not everyone has that kind of heart. And that's where the pain comes in. Because when you realize certain friends can't clap for you, you also realize something else. Not everyone you call a friend was meant to go with you to your next level. And that's a hard pill to swallow. It's heartbreaking, but it's also clarifying, because it shows you who is really in your corner and who was just comfortable with you as long as you stayed the same. After the silence and half-hearted congratulations, something else often starts to show up. And it's even more confusing. It's the little comments that sound like jokes, but don't feel like jokes. "You've changed. Don't forget where you came from. Must be nice to have all that free time. Oh, look at you now. Too busy for us." On the surface, these comments might seem harmless, even playful, but deep down, they leave you with a knot in your stomach. Because what they're really saying is, "You're making us uncomfortable." And that's when the guilt starts to creep in. You begin questioning yourself. Am I being selfish? Am I abandoning them? Am I wrong for focusing on myself? This is the subtle sabotage that no one warns you about. It doesn't always look like open jealousy or hostility. Sometimes it's just enough to make you second-guess your progress. Just enough to make you feel like maybe you should slow down and go back to the old version of you, the version that made everyone else comfortable. And here's the hardest part. Most of the time, they don't even realize they're doing it. They're not trying to be cruel. They're just afraid. Afraid of losing you. Afraid of what your growth says about their own choices. Afraid that if you keep going, you'll leave them behind. And maybe you will. But you cannot let their fear become your cage. You cannot let guilt pull you back into a life you've outgrown. Because every time you dim your light, just to keep someone else comfortable, you betray yourself. And I know it's hard. You want to explain yourself. You want them to understand that you still love them, that you're just trying to become better. But at some point, you have to stop defending your decision to grow. You have to let your actions speak for themselves. The truth is, people who really love you won't try to hold you back. They won't guilt trip you for chasing your goals. They'll find a way to cheer you on, even if it's hard for them. So the next time you hear those little comments, pause, take a breath. Remind yourself why you started this journey in the first place. You are not selfish for changing. You are not wrong for growing. You are doing exactly what you're supposed to be doing. This is the part nobody really prepares you for: the silence. After the distance grows, after the comments and the guilt tripping, you suddenly find yourself alone. And it's not just physical loneliness. It's an emotional loneliness that hits deep, because it feels like you've lost a part of yourself along with the people you lost. You sit in your room at night and think about all the memories you had with them, the inside jokes, the random late-night adventures, the comfort of knowing you always had someone to call. And now, even though you might still be in touch, it's not the same. The energy is different. The closeness is gone. This is the gap, the space between who you used to be and who you are becoming. And it's one of the most uncomfortable places you will ever stand, because part of you misses the old life, not because you want to go back, but because it was familiar. Familiarity can be addictive. Even chaos can feel safe when it's all you've ever known. And when you finally step out of that cycle, there's this aching emptiness that follows you around. You start wondering if maybe you made a mistake. Maybe it wasn't worth it. Maybe you'd rather deal with the old problems than sit in this quiet by yourself. But listen carefully. This is where your transformation is happening. This is where you build the strength that will carry you into your next season. The loneliness is not a punishment. It's a transition. This is where you get to meet yourself again, where you rediscover your values, your dreams, your voice, where you learn to stand on your own 2 feet without needing the constant validation of a crowd. Yes, it's painful. Yes, it feels isolating. But there's a strange beauty in this stage too. Because for the first time, you're no longer running on autopilot. You're no longer living by someone else's expectations. You're free to choose who you become next. So when the silence feels unbearable, remind yourself, this is temporary. You are not meant to live here forever. This is just the hallway between 2 rooms, the place you pass through before you find your next circle, the one that actually matches the version of you that's emerging. And one day, you'll look back and realize that this lonely stage was sacred. It was the season where you built the emotional muscle to keep growing no matter who stayed or left. It was the proof that you were strong enough to stand on your own before anyone else joined you. Here's the good news. The loneliness doesn't last forever. When you keep growing, when you refuse to shrink yourself back down, something incredible starts to happen. You begin attracting people who actually get you, people who don't feel threatened by your ambition, people who don't secretly hope you'll fail just so you can go back to being relatable. These are the people who cheer for you without hesitation, the ones who aren't intimidated when you share good news. They're inspired. They say things like, "That's amazing. What's next?" Or, "I'm so proud of you. Keep going." And when you have hard days, they don't guilt you for struggling. They remind you of who you are and why you started. But here's the thing. You can't wait for these people to just magically appear. You have to create space for them. And sometimes, that means clearing out the old connections that no longer fit. Not with anger, not with bitterness, just with acceptance. Start by asking yourself, who do I want to be 5 years from now? What kind of energy do I want around me? What kind of conversations do I want to have? Then start seeking out spaces where those kinds of people spend their time. Maybe it's joining a mastermind group. Maybe it's going to workshops or community events. Maybe it's connecting with people online who are passionate about the same things you are. You'd be surprised how many like-minded people are out there, but you'll never find them if you keep clinging to circles that no longer support your growth. And remember, it's not about quantity. It's about quality. You don't need 20 supportive friends. Sometimes 1 or 2 aligned, encouraging people can completely change your life. Over time, you'll notice that you're no longer carrying all that guilt. You no longer feel the need to explain yourself or defend your dreams, because now You're surrounded by people who remind you every single day that you're on the right path. And when that happens, the pain you felt before suddenly makes sense. The distance you had to create, the nights you spent alone, the tears you cried wondering if you'd made a mistake. You'll realize it wasn't the end of your story. It was the doorway into a better one. So give yourself permission to build that new circle. You deserve to be around people who light you up, who push you forward, who clap when you win and lift you when you fall. That is what a real circle does, and that is what will take you even further. One of the most overlooked parts of growth is that it doesn't just change your circle, it changes you. And sometimes, that's the hardest part to face. Because losing friends is painful, yes, but losing the version of yourself that used to fit with them can feel even scarier. You might catch yourself looking back at old pictures or memories and feeling a strange mix of pride and sadness. You see a version of you who laughed more freely, who said yes to everything, who never thought twice about putting everyone else first. And you miss them. Not because they were better, but because they were familiar. And if you're not careful, this is where guilt creeps in. You start to wonder if you've become too serious, too focused, too unavailable. You think about the way you guard your time now, the way you set boundaries, the way you say no, and a part of you wonders if you're becoming cold or selfish. But here's the truth you need to hear. You are not selfish for growing. You are not wrong for changing. The old version of you was good, but this new version of you is necessary. The new you is the one who finally speaks up when something doesn't feel right. The new you is the one who refuses to let guilt dictate every decision. The new you is the one who protects your energy like it actually matters, because it does. Yes, it feels strange at first. Yes, it feels uncomfortable to stop people-pleasing when that's all you've ever known. But this is what real growth looks like, learning to love the new you instead of apologizing for her. And when you do that, when you fully embrace who you are becoming, everything shifts. You stop fearing who might leave. You stop obsessing over who doesn't approve. You stop trying to explain yourself to people who aren't even listening. Instead, you start focusing on what actually matters, building a life that feels good from the inside out, living in alignment with your values, creating peace in your space, in your mind, and in your relationships. And that's when you realize something powerful. The new you is not a stranger. She's not someone you need to feel guilty about becoming. She's the person you were always meant to be. You just had to grow through the pain to meet her. There's one last piece of this journey that we don't talk about enough. What to actually do with all the pain you've been carrying. Because losing friends isn't just sad. It can leave behind resentment, anger, and even a little bitterness. You start thinking about all the times you showed up for them, all the sacrifices you made, all the ways you stayed loyal, and now they're gone. And that hurts. But this is where you get to make one of the most powerful choices of your life. You can either let the pain make you bitter, or you can let it make you better. When you use pain the right way, it becomes fuel. It pushes you to grow deeper roots, to build stronger habits, to work harder on yourself. Not to prove them wrong, but to prove yourself right. Think about it. Every lonely night, every tear you've cried, every moment you felt misunderstood can either weigh you down or sharpen you. This is the season where you turn heartbreak into discipline, where you take all that energy and pour it into your dreams, your healing, your next level. Instead of asking, "Why did they leave me?" start asking, "What did they teach me?" Because even their absence has a lesson. Maybe they taught you what kind of energy you never want around you again. Maybe they showed you the importance of boundaries. Maybe their silence forced you to finally listen to your own voice. Turning pain into power is not about pretending it doesn't hurt. It's about refusing to let it stop you. It's about using it as a stepping stone instead of a stumbling block. And here's the most beautiful part. When you finally look back, the pain won't feel like punishment anymore. It will feel like preparation. You'll realize that losing them gave you the clarity and strength you needed to build a life that truly feels like yours. So let the pain refine you, not define you. Let it grow you into someone who no longer begs to be understood, but stands boldly in who you are. That is where your real power begins. Losing friends when you finally start to win is one of the most heartbreaking parts of growth. It feels unfair. It feels lonely. It feels like the universe is taking people away from you just when you thought life was finally starting to make sense. But what if this isn't punishment? What if this is preparation? Every person who drifts away, every quiet group chat, every cold reaction, it's not just loss. It's making room. Room for the right people. Room for a life that actually fits who you are becoming. Room for peace. So yes, this hurts. And yes, it's okay to grieve. But don't let the grief pull you back to the version of you who played small to keep everyone comfortable. Keep growing. Keep choosing yourself. Keep trusting that the right people will find you, because they will. And when they do, you'll finally understand why you had to let go of the ones who couldn't clap for you. Because the truth is, this is the silent price of leveling up, and it's worth every single step. If this spoke to you, if this made you think of someone, share it with them. Leave a comment and tell me which part hit you the hardest. I want to hear your story. And if you're ready to keep doing this work, to keep growing together, hit that subscribe button so we can keep having these real, raw conversations about growth, healing, and becoming your best self.